Trying to quit smoking? You don't have to quit alone. Way to Quit is here if you need help, have questions, or just need to talk. Tips, resources, and coaches are just a phone call away. Call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. That's 1-800-QUIT-NOW or visit waytoquit.org.
Time to upgrade your adventure with an RV from Motorsportsland. Don't put off making exciting memories and exploring the many outdoor hideaways right here in Utah. Come in today and see how Motorsportsland can help you get away, or visit motorsportsland.com.
Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Utah's source for exclusive access and insights behind the news. Here's the opinion page editor of the Deseret News, Boyd Matheson, on KSL News Radio 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Welcome back, everyone, to Inside Sources here on KSL News Radio. Great to be with you today. Happy St. Patrick's Day. And we're very thrilled to be joined now by Deseret News editor Doug Wilkes joining us in the studio. Doug, thanks for joining us.
See you, Boyd. Really good to see you.
So we're going to have a little different conversation today. Often we debate and talk about the critical geopolitical news of the day and what's going on in the world. And now we've got something really important to talk about.
Thank goodness.
And it is the BYU Cougar women cross-country team. Did it all. We always talk about the need to have heroes, the need to have victories and things that unite us. And the women's cross-country team did it on Monday. They took the national championship.
You know, sometimes we have an event like March Madness that we all tune into. But I think the reason we really need champions and heroes is to see how they got there. And I write about that in my column Inside the Newsroom in the Deseret News this week. But that's what fascinates me, because they put in so much time, so much effort, seemingly without the promise of any glory.
Yeah.
So what are the lessons you can learn from doing that? And that's what we explore.
Yeah, and I love that. I think for the cross country team, it wasn't just whether or not they would get a chance to win, but whether they would even get a chance to compete. And we just played an excerpt from my interview with Coach Mark Pope, who went down a very similar line. He talked about that his team would not bow to ready-made excuses, and talked about how in the summer, getting those guys in the weight room and making sure they were doing all their reps without the promise of a season or a single game or anything else. And I know the women's cross-country team took that same philosophy into their preparations all the way through the pandemic.
It's really interesting. FlowTrack it goes to different schools and looks at their training. And there's some great things on YouTube, like from 2019, where they've come to BYU and you see the women's cross-country team, and Diljit Taylor is their coach. And they're going through these grueling workouts, and it's hot, and they're just in that field west of Cougar Stadium. And to see the dedication, and the women who are there maybe don't have the victory spoils that came this year. And some, you're right, they missed out totally on competition last year. But the dedication and work, slowly but surely, you build and you create a team culture, and then the team wins. And that's why we need those heroes, because it's not just the person who gets the crown, it's the people running with them years before who didn't get the chance. Yeah, that's right. And those that don't show up in the box score or in the final results as well. You mentioned that idea of culture, Doug. I have always been someone who believes, whether it's a business, an organization, or a community, that culture eats strategy for breakfast. Culture really drives. And I think one of the things that Coach Diljit Taylor at BYU's Women Cross Country is this idea that they would work while everyone else was waiting to see what the pandemic would do or to see what the NCAA would do. They were working in a culture, not waiting for someone to say, okay, now you can compete, now you can prepare. Yeah, they even had a slogan, win the wait, right? Win the wait. Just love that. Do the work that you need to do. Courtney Wayment in the indoor track and field won the individual 3,000 meters. The starting line, she says, I'm going to win this thing. She anchored the award-winning medley relay team, the distance medley relay team, for the first time for BYU. I mean, they had a remarkable few days. And we haven't even mentioned Condor Mance, the BYU men's cross-country champion. So, yeah, it was a shining moment, not in a March Madness way, but for BYU's runners. Yeah, and often those the March Madness is
the most wonderful time of the year. We even have the music for that. But this cross-country victory, both women and men, the things that they achieved this year were really extraordinary. And so let's dig down just a little bit. You mentioned at the outset, Doug, that we have a need for this to one, see how they did it, and then to glean some of those lessons for our own organizations, for our own communities, our own families, our own individual lives. I know you were all caught up in this on Monday. You were all in. You were watching it. You were absorbing it. You were talking about it. What did it do for you? This Monday event that was really the culmination of so many other things of winning, not waiting.
Well, it becomes this remarkable analogy. I mean, I think of Dr. Angela Dunn, and while people are trying to figure out what Netflix they want to binge on because they're stuck in their living room in a quarantine, she's working day and night to try and solve this. How can I do? What can I do? The governor, Governor Herbert, now Governor Cox, trying to figure out what do I do. You have so many people winning the wait. Why? Yeah. What's the wait? The wait for a vaccine. Well, how do we win before we get the vaccine? Now with the vaccine, what's the strategy to get the victory? And boy, there are unsung heroes running those laps that are never going to find that finish line. But if we collectively as society can do that, and look to these champions, like, wow, what inspired them to be doing lap after lap after lap, not knowing even if they can compete, how difficult, but they were willing to put in the time, and then, they got to taste victory.
Love that. Encourage everyone to check out Inside the Newsroom with Doug Wilkes. His piece will be up later today on Deseret.com. We'll also put that on our Facebook page so you can access and read that. And before I let you go, Doug, I don't very often get to be the journalist and ask you hard questions, but we've been having this conversation. I got asked this question the other day. We talk about the fingerprint business, and someone actually asked me the question, whose fingerprints are on your life? And I love that question, and so I don't get to ask you hard questions very often, so I'm going to put you on the spot. Just give me one person whose fingerprints are on your life.
Christiana Wilkes, my wife. It's just, it's the most amazing relationship, and it's born from struggling together. My first journalist salary was $220 a week, and you invest. I mean, there's applications to the champions we watch.
Right.
You put in the time, you keep going, you stick to a value. But overwhelmingly, Christiana and, my mother, who sacrificed a lot as well. I mean, these aren't unique answers, right? But if you're asking me the question, that's who it is.
Yeah, fantastic. We're going to continue that conversation in our final segment. A lot of you have been chiming in with whose fingerprints are on your lives. And it's the fingerprinters out there that really move the country, that move our communities and make a difference for so many of us. Doug, appreciate your fingerprints on our community, not just on this building.
Thanks.
All right. Doug Wilkes joining us from the Deseret News. It's a great piece. The need for champions, the many lessons that are in there. And again, big kudos to BYU's women cross country team. They won the wait because they made it happen with a culture, with a commitment that was truly extraordinary. All right, we're going to go ahead and step aside for a quick commercial break. When we come back, we will keep talking about those who are winning in the fingerprint business. Stay with us on KSL News Radio. We'll be right back.